Please rise for a moment of silent prayer and the pledge. These chairs are difficult. Oh my gosh. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Every time Jim talks.
Yeah. Bob,
Little assistance, please.
Sorry.
No.
Little assistance.
no, he just wanted to be able to have the access to you. Okay. That's fine. Yeah.
My wife and kid.
Yeah, the first ladies and Mark.
No, you're too short. It's good. Okay, we're ready.
Okay, roll call.
Frazier.
Here.
Weiss.
Here.
Adi.
Here.
Elder. Here. Leibel.
Here.
Reese.
Here.
Sleep.
Here.
Okay. Council has a copy of the minutes from the last meeting and has had a chance to review them. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Then they'll stand as they are. Council also has a copy of tonight's agenda. Are there any additions to the agenda? Okay. Then we will start the reading.
First reading of an ordinance to authorize and direct the Safety Service Director to apply for, accept, and enter into a water supply revolving loan account, WSRLA, agreement on behalf of the City of Fremont for planning, design, and/or construction of water facilities, and designating a dedicated repayment source for the loan, and declaring an emergency.
So, Madam President, we've talked a little bit about this. If you remember, maybe a month and a half, close to 2 months ago, we brought a different piece of legislation for declaring our intent to issue some debt related to the chemical feed building. So that was if we needed to issue some publicly issued debt, like a note issue, like we've done with Garrison Street and some other projects where we've done some notes. This is the other avenue that we talked about that night, where we were going to try and get a low interest loan from the Ohio EPA for the chemical feed building first. And so the previous ordinance was kind of the safety net in case this were to get declined by the EPA. So myself and city engineer Tucker Frederickson and Haley Foose in the water billing office, and then Chad Johnson, we've been compiling different aspects of information needed for EPA's loan application to submit to them. And so we're looking for this. I'm assuming it's a required piece of the application to have the authorization by council to actually formally submit that. I don't know if we've got everything done for the application, but I wasn't in the office yesterday or today. So, okay.
So everything's done. This will be the last piece of the paperwork that we need, as well as your signature on another piece that I get tonight, and then we'll be able to submit the application.
Yep. So this is just the other aspect that we were talking about that night, that we were going to try this option first, a little bit better interest rate. We're looking at doing a financing over 10 years, and it's about $1.4 million for the chemical feed building and all the equipment and stuff that's inside it. And so, and just a reminder, this was kind of a little bit of the EPA kind of messing around with us a little bit, to put it a little bit politely, where we thought we were going to be able to use the WRSIP money that was associated with the reservoir that was going to be boomeranged around for the dam, and they felt that the chemical feed building was not a qualifying aspect of the project, where myself and Tucker, all the way back since Mayor Ellis was in office and then flowing through to Mayor Sanchez, we always acted under that assumption, but we didn't really have clear, defined, allowable uses. And so then when we brought it up, they reviewed it, and they allowed us to have some banter back and forth, arguing for it, but at the end of the day, they shot it down. And so...
So this is the avenue that you were hoping for, correct?
After losing out the
Right.
grant, yes,
Right.
yes.
Okay.
So we haven't gotten it yet, but this
Right.
authorizes us to submit the application. And I don't, have they told us approximately what their review process, length of time, or did they not?
So we're kind of under the gun to get this done. We've got to get this turned in here, and they'll actually award, if they're going to award the loan, by September 1st.
Okay.
So we'll know by September 1st if we've been successful in getting it.
Yeah.
So I'd like to entertain a motion to suspend Rule 4.
A second.
John Elder, makes a motion to suspend Rule 4. Christine Weiss seconds. Are there any questions or comments about the suspension of Rule 4? Roll call.
Weiss?
Yes.
Adi?
Yes.
Elder? Yes. Leibold?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
Sleek?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Christine Weiss moved to adopt. Who's second? Jim Sleek second. Any further questions or comments?
I have one question. I hate acronyms. What's the worst of grants for the public health, you know? Something with
Water
Supply
Revolving loan.
Gotcha. No.
Can you repeat that back to us?
I thought it said that right in the
It does. It does.
water supply revolving loan account.
Don't let it jump out there and get you, Sarge. Careful.
Anything else? Okay, roll call.
Adi?
Yes.
Elder? Yes. Leibold?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
Sleek?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Weiss?
Yes.
Agenda item 2, first reading of a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
So this is our annual resolution accepting amounts and rates. It's not due to be filed with the auditor until October 1st, so we can let it go 3 readings. We don't need to. Typically, I think we normally suspend the rules because it's the same thing every year. The only thing that changes is the amount in the ordinance. So the millage does not change. The city of Fremont has a 3.2 mil property tax levy that is what we base our property taxes on for what the city gets, the city portion. And then the dollar amount that's listed in the ordinance is the amount that they expect. I believe it's the amount that they expect that millage to generate based on the new assessed value for next year, 2025, as well as full collection. So the dollar, because I think this year we might have cracked $1 million. I don't have a copy because I kept it electronically. So I believe in the ordinance, it actually states that the property tax expected is more than $1 million. We won't get that because it won't be fully collected. There'll be some delinquents and stuff that'll happen, but that's the associated dollar amount with that. So if you felt like suspending the rules, you could, and then when it gets all the signatures, I'll just file it with the county auditor. If you want to let it go for a reading or 2 or 3, all 3, that's fine by me as well.
What do we want to just let it ride? Okay. Okay, well, that's the end of our readings. So I'm moving on to committee reports, and I'm starting with Denny-Adi, Streets and Utilities.
Thank you, Madam. Just a couple of things that are going on. is there will be a three-way stop coming at Majestic and Bloom Road. That is out there by Crown Battery, when you head down towards the Crown Battery where they all join together. Also, I know people have been asking about State Street. I know we're waiting for more grant money for that, and then the design phase will happen exactly how we want to handle that for State Street. And just to remind you, that's government money. All right, so when people start saying, oh, we got local money for that, no, that's actually state and federal money. If anybody sees any streetlights out, let me know. I kind of occasionally see a few out, and I always let our street department know, but just email me, and we'll get those taken care of. And I'm going to bring up about the alley anyway. On the, we have been in discussion about making the alley between Krogan Street and Rawson Avenue a one-way. So, or not Rawson, Napoleon.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
One way in which direction?
We talked about making it a one-way from Napoleon to Krogan.
Where though?
The alley. Or
Court
like
Street?
Ralston, almost dead end.
From Court Street? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Their basis as an accident.
Some of the neighbors have complained, only not only the narrowness of the alley itself, but some of the neighbors have complained about just that, the inconvenience of having to pull over. There's really no place to pull over if you go up there and get two cars going each way. I know a lot of people do use that from Rawson Avenue going to Kroger. Yeah.
So that's where Rawson crosses Napoleon, and then it's that alley that goes straight through.
The Court
and,
Street.
Yeah, because it
Court,
and then
and then the
further.
Kroger.
because it ends up with 4 cars stopped.
I know when I go through there, I always worry what if somebody comes from one of those crossways too. Not that that has anything to do with the one way, but that's it.
I have another, Mr. Adi, if I can, bring another situation to council's attention, to the public's attention. I've been receiving, and I've spoken to the safety service director, or interim safety service director about this within the last week or so. But ironically, there was an accident there several days ago in the corner of Wilson and Hayes. I think that's an area that the traffic safety committee really needs to take a look at.
There's a stoplight there.
There's a stoplight. I stood there and watched excessive speeding for, I don't know, 20 minutes to a half hour. I've addressed it with the police chief. And ironically, there was just an accident there several days ago, early morning. And it's concerning. There's a lot of walkers in that area. There is a light, however, the light, I don't know if it slows the traffic down going either direction, because it appeared that every time the light went yellow, the cars went faster. And maybe taking a look at
On Hayes Avenue, it's quite
making
often.
that a four-way stop, or really encouraging the police department to focus on it.
But,
So,
but also earlier, 3 days before that, there was an accident at the corner of Buckley and Hayes, which happens more often, having lived there for 20-some years. But,
So I think we need to put a focus on some traffic initiatives in that whole area there.
How about speed bumps?
Well, that wouldn't be feasible on a city street like that, but I think maybe just some police enforcement and looking at that light and determining whether or not, because I think it'd be possible for that light to flash red, to test that to see, and talk to the engineer and see whether or not that would be, efficient or not, making sure there would be enough.
people try to beat the light.
To be able to see. So those are some of my concerns. I took the complaint,
And
I
honestly-
went and watched, and I saw with my
Well,
eyes.
and honestly, living in that neighborhood, there's been more accidents at the east end of the presidential center than there's ever been at that. And I was kind of shocked to see there was an accident. It really happened. But I do agree with you with the speeding aspect.
And that one was back to the court. Bus, I think.
What, one of those,
Somebody ran
portable
the
light?
stoplight?
I think that's what happened. They probably hit them with the bus.
But maybe a portable light.
And I don't want to get into too much, I'm just bringing it up that
No.
that is an area that's been brought to my attention, and I said I would address it publicly at the city council.
Probably a couple roundabouts.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, you.
That road is crooked too.
Correct.
So people, have to jog in it. So that even makes it worse there.
Right.
They should, and it's my only opinion, just, you should peel that one corner off a little bit better. That way the people could get over a little farther.
Right. And I know it was brought up to me also, speeding on Burchard, and this is not the first time I heard it, but right at Monroe and Burchard, I heard there's been 3 parked cars hit over last year or 2.
That's
So-
3 years, one of them being mine.
Well, I witnessed the last one, so didn't witness, I saw afterwards, yeah, so.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I know
That
that,
was just a couple weeks ago.
yeah, so I saw that area. We just have to put more of an emphasis on law enforcement with speeding, and I've talked to the chief about that, so I just wanted to bring that up to the attention of the public and city council. Thank you, Mr. Ryan, sorry.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask, could we maybe, talk to Elena, maybe have another safety traffic?
Sure.
If you could try to schedule one for us.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. Chris Leibold, Finance and Labor.
Thank you, Madam President. As always, the auditor has supplied us with a monthly financial report. I think probably the most important part is revenues. It looks like our general withholdings are just up, but not terribly up. Business down, but that worked itself out, right? Otherwise, I didn't see anything too variable, so I defer to the auditor.
No, there wasn't anything, too unexpected, not unexplainable, but unexpected. Just a reminder to the public that I put a monthly finance report to council, and then we put it on the finance page of the city website. So the last year and a half, almost 2 years, I believe, all the monthly reports are available to click and download in a PDF, and it's got fund reports, revenues and expenditures, and the city's debt, and different things like that. So, but yeah, nothing too much. Like you said, the withholdings, people are working in town, and so withholdings doing well. Business is always a bit of a crapshoot, and of course, Big Brother, the state of Ohio, doesn't do us any favors when it comes to business, because as we've talked over the last several years, they kind of eliminated the ability to not carry forward a loss. So businesses can carry forward a loss, which offsets future earnings, which then minimizes their tax liability in the current year or possibly future years. So, but overall, our business withholdings, or our business taxes have been doing well also. So our businesses are doing a good job with their bottom lines, and we're reaping some benefit off of that as well. Yeah, I can't think of anything else that was in there. You can kind of see, now that we're a few months into the rate, the water and sewer rate increase that we had council enact, and the safety service director enacted the water side, council did the sewer side. Those revenues are creeping up a little bit as we've gotten a few months after the increase was effective April 1st, and so that's great to see, to help fund the operations with all the chemicals and the projects that we've got coming down the pipe, and so that's kind of flagging out in there too.
Okay, thank you. Jim Sleek, Economic Development.
Thank you, Madam President. As everyone knows, Rite Aid is getting down to the final few days of their business, unfortunately. If you get a chance to get over there, and they do have some good deals going on, and we're sitting there with an empty building again, which Mr. Gross and I will be talking and see what we can, maybe another car wash or another AutoZone or something they got.
Not a Dollar
Yeah,
General, please.
Something, not a Dollar General. Anyways, But on a positive note, there's new owners at the Juice Garden, I believe there, and they're really doing well. And so any of our local businesses, not only in my ward, but wherever, if you can help support, it would be greatly appreciated. And yes.
What, I think we were gonna, can you give us an update on, not Jiffy Lube, but,
Pennzoil.
Pennzoil,
Okay,
what's going on?
That's down in your neighborhood, isn't it?
I just see it going up and they're
It's-
taking it
Yeah, I
long.
think
It's
they're-
really come along.
I think they're doing good. Mr.
Yeah.
Smith, Brian Smith and his crew are anxiously waiting for him to, I think they've got to get a couple lifts in there, but man, what an upgrade.
And then what about the building next to the car wash? That's gonna be a car wash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's why I threw that out there. But anyways, they all need cleaned up a little bit once in a while. So we'll just keep shining.
Yeah,
And, but that's all I have, Madam President.
okay.
Thank you.
Laws, rules, and ordinances, John Elder.
We have no new laws, rules, or ordinances at the moment, so,
Okay.
nothing. Thank you.
Parks and Recreation, Seth Frazier.
Thank you, Madam President. To update about fall sports registration for soccer and volleyball beginning September 16th. The shutdown of the facilities will be held between September 3rd and 10th. During that time, they will be resurfacing the the parking lot and doing other various maintenance and cleaning projects. I talked with Danny, Steve Stutz, is that who it was last week? And Cody Bischoff, about the landscaping. They've done a great job. They pressure washed the front. It looks a lot more presentable. They'll be bringing in some, what is it called, wood chips, what is it? Mulch, and they are putting some flower and plant beds out there. They got with Angie Reese, reaching out with her and getting with the beautification team to see if they will provide those, which they will give us an update in 2 weeks once they have a meeting.
Awesome.
Moving to downtown, I want to remind everybody that we have the farmers market on Saturday. We have music performance as well. Jay Messengers from 10 to 1 p.m. It was a great turnout the last farmers market we had, and hopefully everybody shows up again. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Citizen Service Committee, Angie Reese.
Thank you, Madam President. I was not able to contact the Fremont Fire Chief, Chief Paul Bison. That was due to my fault. I ran out of time. I do know that during the 4th of July, the fire department did answer a call at a home that was caught on fire due to a firecracker. It just happened that I was in at that home, and when I left, and I left because of firecrackers, I don't like them. So anyhow, when they took the firecrackers and blew them up, a spark got into the police on the house. So they haven't been able to live in it.
Wow.
So be careful with firecrackers. People, they're not that safe. I will have a report on our fire department for our next meeting. As to the Fremont Police Department, they're very busy. In order to keep up with today's world, they have 3 officers in field training. 1 officer is in the academy preparing to graduate. The department also has another officer beginning the academy later this month. Chief Wenzinger will elaborate more on this information. You can do it right now, or you can wait for
So a snapshot, we have 17 officers. We have 3 officers in field training, 1 attending academy, graduating, I think it's the 24th. Or it might be the 17th, because the other date, the 24th, is when academy starts for another new hire. We have a strong civil service list still, with a few candidates that we're interested in hiring. And I believe we'll have another new hire to enroll, attached to police officer and send to academy beginning in January of 25. So on the front end of things, it looks good. Incoming staff also our ranks.
Community Partnership Committee, Christine Weiss.
Couple things. There is a lot going on this weekend in the city of Fremont. We touched on the farmers markets, but also at Roger Young, there is a family fun day from 1 to 4. There's going to be an appearance by Big Nut. There's going to be a free delicious chicken dinner with sides, baseball, kickball, raffles, and a bounce house. And then in the evening at the Fremont Speedway, there is also an event sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce of Sandusky County, Sandusky County Visitors Bureau, and Sandusky County Economic Development. So there is a lot going on with that, and that's a really cool event that all these organizations are sponsoring that. And then to boot, we've got school starting at the end of the month.
Yes.
Already.
Tag, you're it.
We can tell who the parents, we can tell who the parents are.
So thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Okay. Bob Gross.
Yeah, Council, I have a pretty long list of things to update you on. Some are pretty big news.
Okay, well, we're ready.
So hopefully you're ready. So you may have seen it, Crown Battery put a press release out July 3rd announcing an expansion of their existing facility at the end of Bloom Road. It is a 55,000 square foot expansion to expand their warehousing and distribution. As part of that, we are working with Crown to extend Bloom Road and build Bloom Road out. If you're familiar with the area, it kind of, Bloom Road extends, kind of becomes a short, skinny road, but you immediately take a right on Majestic Drive. We have applied for and gotten $300,000 in grants, a $200,000 grant from ODOT, and another $100,000 grant from Jobs Ohio to build that road. And the idea is to help with the logistics in that area, that will be the incoming truck route into the warehouse area, and then the trucks would then exit out on Majestic Drive. And so this has been really a partnership, I would describe it, with Crown, County EDC, the City of Fremont, mostly the City of Fremont, and Jobs Ohio and RGP to work on these grants, because it's job creation and continued industrial development. As part of that road extension, Bloom Road will also get new surface. So the other manufacturers, I think back there, are happy too. And I think the only thing, Denny kind of alluded to it, because of the increased truck traffic, we're examining that intersection, and at some point, it's probably going to a three-way stop there. Forcing people to stop, because if you're a truck and you're coming out on Majestic, you've got a shift coming in, trucks move slow, and it's hard to get out, shift workers coming in, and so, but I'm not, I think Tucker's got a little bit of work to do, so I don't know if we're going to implement the three-way stop. This project, or we may do it as part of when we do the road work out there, but this is a project that Crown, in the press release said August 1st, well today's August 1st, there wasn't anybody moving dirt out there today. They're scheduled to have all the equipment show up and start moving dirt on that project next week. Our end of the project is a spring of 25 project to go out there. So we did not want to be in their way. We wanted to give them 6 to 7 months worth of lead time where they get their equipment in, heavy equipment, excavators, whatnot, and then as they're kind of in the later stages or later phases they're building, we'll bring in big equipment and do Bloom Road. So that's one big announcement. The second big announcement, I think you may have gotten invites. Next Thursday afternoon, there's a big economic development meeting. And what this meeting really is about, the state of Ohio, specifically Jobs Ohio, and RGP has what they call an industrial site authentication program. And ideally, they're vetting all the industrial sites in the state of Ohio for if you are truly shovel ready. They've hired a company, a national site selection company out of South Carolina, to help the state to get industrial sites pre-approved, pre-read, pre-certified. And so communities had to submit information and you just keep making cuts, and the industrial park has keep making cuts. This is a really big deal for Fremont that a national site selector with connections to hundreds of corporations will be in our community, and myself, Tucker, our water treatment plant superintendent, Chad Johnson, and our water reclamation superintendent, Jeff Lamson, are meeting with them that morning because they want to know everything about our water system. I mean, everything, top to bottom, delivery, production, cleaning, and it's just a big packet of information that they're going through line by line. And it's good because we think we're right. We think we're positioned pretty well to kind of get vetted and moved along. At the end of the day, you get put on this list of this preferred sites, meaning these site selectors gravitate for this list first because you checked off all the boxes that are needed when a site selection company is representing a corporation and whatnot. And if we don't have all our boxes checked, if we're missing something, because they said most every community might have something they've got to improve on. The idea is it's a little bit of a practice run to get us authenticated, and if there's a piece that we're missing, you know, like maybe another environmental study, geotech, or a utility, something or other, we can do that. Yeah. So what's really important for you guys is next Thursday the 8th in the afternoon is a meeting where they want community stakeholders, leaders, elected officials to be there, because they want to talk to you about the value and importance of economic development and how important your role is as a legislator to kind of work with to get your sites ready and what site selectors look for in communities. I think the other rally is what I've heard. This is kind of just a side conversation. Part of the reason they're doing this is they're also looking at communities who are economic development friendly. Because part of the conversations we have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for a study or bought an option on some land, and then when it comes time for a contract, a zoning, an annexation, or whatever it may be, you know, a developer could be out some money if council isn't on board with development. I was very complimentary of you folks because I said to them in a Zoom meeting, the industrial park that we have wouldn't have been this far without our council. We are blessed in Fremont to have a council that really embraces economic development, understands their role, and understands what it does to help the administration kind of take that industrial park to the next level. So it's a great acquaintance there for you guys, and it's really kind of twofold. How of an economic development friendly community are we? So the mayor kind of indicated, well, where are we at on the industrial park? A couple great points. If you remember, the industrial park is divided power on two sides. First Energy just flat out told us we're not going to bring power till you get a building there. AEP is like, sure, we'll deliver power to the edge of the site. Well, half the property, AEP has power to the site. Columbia Gas was out there 2 weeks ago. There are gas lines all throughout the site now. Omni Fiber was out there last week, so the fiber optics are out there. And then we are getting a sign made. I may have shared that too with you at a council meeting in the spring. And as it doesn't rain, they're going to install the HP Young Industrial Park sign. If you've driven out there, they poured the foundation of it last week. So there's kind of rectangular cement block there, foundation. If it doesn't rain, about Tony Monument out of Duxie's coming down, putting the sign there. So all those things bode well for us, because I think those are the things the preferred site selectors. Do you have utilities there? And we know this, right? Public sector moves slower than private sector, and private sector wants to shovel in the ground quicker than sometimes government's ready. And I feel like we're ready. We're ready. And so we have some leads, but I think the economy is slowing down for various reasons. A lot of it maybe has to do with interest rates, and there's rumblings that interest rates are going to come down in September and then again in December. So I think there's some, a 0.25% on a $10 million loan is quite a bit of money, and so I think there are developers who are willing to punt on it to see what the interest rates do.
The input, does that mean you didn't give a location?
Oh,
you said
I'm sorry.
Next week in the afternoon,
I think you got an invite, but
an email.
Yeah, I think you
Oh,
got an email. So it's 2:30, August 8th, out at Sandusky County Economic Development. And we're meeting out there because that's where we're meeting beforehand, and then we're going to be over at the site. It's all kind of centrally located to the industrial park. You may have known this, so Sheets Motor, there was an announcement there that you may have seen it, that Sheets bought the old Kroger's building in Potter Village. They are starting next month the rehab of that building, which includes a lot of cleanup, a lot of painting, I think new asphalt. They are going to expand their business because they now have the facilities to expand their business, maybe bring in some new brands. So probably in the next, I think they targeted maybe September 1st as the start date with the rehab of that building. So you'll see some activity over there. And then we started updating the city website. If you have been on the city website lately, some things have changed. Honestly, we started that process. So we have been out flying a drone and getting pictures. And we started with getting the drone pictures of the industrial park because we've got this presentation. So you may be asked in the next few months to be available to get an updated picture. We're going to get updated pictures of all department heads and elected officials. Out maybe shooting new video. I think the one thing that struck me is I looked at the website and I'm like, oh, I know that girl that's up there throwing, like, they had some high school girl doing something. I was like, that girl's now 24 with 2 kids. I'm like, might be time to update the website. So, I think, and the other part of that is we're really looking at the user friendliness. I think we ran the website long enough, the tabs that are most utilized, and how can we feature them a little bit better so they'll be more efficient. I think there are some other, I know there was a question of some pages here, and I'll kind of get to those. Appleby Lumber. So Tom Appleby owns property. He's working with the Sandusky County Land Bank to get a grant. Brian was the executive director, hadn't heard anything, and he reached out to the Department of Development, which is where the grant is coming through. Last week, they said we are going through all the grant applications for all the counties, and we're going to release them all at once, and we think we're 2 weeks away from all these approval letters for all these land bank grants to be going out. So we didn't hear anything negative, like because sometimes you'll hear something if you're missing a piece of paper or some information, they'll tell you. I think we're hoping that we get the approval, and then there's already, and it should move pretty quick once we get the approval, because I think the bid process that the land bank did to get a contractor on board to do the demo is already there. So once we know the money's secure, then we can get the green light to the demo company. Talked about the UPS moving into the old US Bank. That's scheduled for late fall, maybe November range. There's still a lot of work to do on the building. One question was county services building in the old Eastern Shopping Center. I'm not really sure. I hear different things that they may try to start that this fall. Apparently, I think they just finished up some of their design, and I don't want to speak for the county, so I'm just kind of speaking off. I think some of the things they may have already said publicly is I think the design plans are done, and I think they were targeting maybe getting started on project near the end of this year. And then Otto and Arvin, I think you might have saw Christie's email that they're August they're going to open up down here. So that's a lot, and I don't know if there are any questions about anything else that's popped up. All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We needed all that information.
Miss a month of meetings, that's what happened.
No one else missed anything.
I know.
Chief Wensinger?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. A couple things. The police department's moving on with all the work that we're doing, including training a ton of officers. This weekend is very busy, and I'll comment again that the Hands of Our Future event at Roger Young Park, I hope that's very well attended. I'm not sure adults are allowed in the bounce house, maybe we'll see.
We don't do that anymore.
I can try it out if it
I mean, for safety purposes, somebody should make sure. I am.
We'll volunteer you then.
There's a couple of running events. Tomorrow morning, actually, there's a peace run that has a huge course throughout the United States. It's all over the the globe, actually, but this one is just to the United States. They're coming to the Fremont Amphitheater at 10 a.m. I believe Mayor Sanchez might read a proclamation or will have some comments. I think they have 14 runners. We'll be giving them an escort. We contacted them. So that's at 10 a.m. There is a Front Street relay tomorrow evening. And then there is a daily chasing Jamie in memory of we'll have some police officers at any of those events, not because we're expecting any trouble. We're looking at different ways. I can't quite convince them, any officers, to run in any of those events yet. So there'll be some uniformed policemen there. I'd love for the community to go say hi to them. You know, we're pressuring, or I am pressuring these officers to be more connected to our community, and it might just also help me if our community walks up and just says hi. So, be a little bit of to, and I'll repeat this, I've said it many times, the City of Fremont Police Department is supported very well by our community. But just saying hi, like this goes. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Tucker Frederickson?
I have nothing to say, Mayor President.
Mayor Sanchez?
Thank you, Madam President. First and foremost, I want to thank my team over the last 6 months, the department heads that are here today with Tucker and Tucker Frederickson and Chief Wensinger and also the other elected officials in the building that are there with Mr. Melly always being available, and obviously our auditor who's always pretty hands-on with a lot of decision-making. And obviously give a special recognition to Bob Gross. Over the last 6 months, our lives changed professionally. We were forced to take on a whole new role when you've been in a job for 8 years and you think you've dealt with it all. I think both of us have grown a lot over as leaders the last 6 months, and realizing how important that Mr. Frost is to the city while he was serving and protecting us. And Mr. Frost surprised us all and made it back over the weekend. He's been in the office the last 2 days kind of intermittently, just trying to adapt back to the civilian world. So I said, you don't need to be a city council today. So I will tell you that, and I think you all know, we're all in different roles and different positions, but you're only as successful as your team. And as the mayor, I'm just blessed to have a good team around me. We've gone through some hurdles. We've gone through some public hurdles, some public challenges. But throughout those challenges, you know, we acknowledge where we could do better as a city. We try to be transparent. And every day we continuously look at trying to do things better. It's funny, we haven't been here for a little while, but you realize how much stuff's going on behind the scenes. And as we're talking through things, I had like 6 or 7 other things I was going to touch on. I'm not going to get into all of them, but you know, one of the things I want to touch on is there's going to be a new pickleball court coming in at Burchard Park, currently being worked on with tennis court. So that's in the process of being completed. That was also a grant-funded project that we received. The basketball court has been repainted and restriped also at Burchard Park. I'm in the process, after I can try to get caught up here. It's been hard for me to be out as much in the public as I've been in City Hall, so I'm still trying to adapt to that, but we've been out attending a lot of events still in the last 6 months, trying to get to a lot of places. But the Burchard Historic Neighborhood Initiative is still moving forward, and we're looking to look at long-term planning with Burchard Park, but we were able to secure this grant. It was last year, and finally able to get that into place here soon. Mr. Gross didn't mention this, but the Swinton Reineck building's also been purchased. Maybe he mentioned that before, by a local owner. And myself and Mr. Gross are working with him to try to help, get that building filled. That would be nice to get that building filled. So he's actively seeking a tenant. He's been very appreciative of the response that the city has given to him. So, pardon me?
They just laid new asphalt in there last week.
The people that make the set things for the,
Sure.
they're going in there.
Well, kind of.
Well,
So,
storage.
well, he owns it, and yes, but they're looking at they're looking at renting the additional space. So I was in there and tried to get them a possible tenant for an indoor basketball facility, but the ceilings weren't high enough, so it didn't work out. But it was we were close to that. So also plans are not finalized yet, but Cody Bischoff is leading the initiative, and I don't know if Tucker's involved with it or not, or the police chief and Bob, but we're looking at what we can do to get fiber in our parks for Wi-Fi and things like that in our parks to try to improve, you know, that technology upgrade throughout the city for safety features along with hopefully with public use. So we're looking at doing some of those things. There were so many things mentioned, I don't want to repeat what everyone else said. Does anyone have any questions for me, any council members?
That slide being fixed at Berkeley Park.
It's already fixed.
It's fixed.
Oh,
Well,
excuse
no,
me.
it was-
The wash park one is fixed. The slide at Berkshire Park is getting fixed. The part is been ordered. I think that was put in 1998, I believe so, and the company is sending the part at no cost to the city. Yeah, so. Some other things to look at in the future, to start looking at upgrades at park equipment. We'll have to start looking for some other grants.
Well, isn't that, there's another broken thing there, isn't there? Like
Yeah, the slide.
Well,
where
the
you
slide,
hit
but
on-
yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll send us that part too.
Yeah, so I'm not aware of that part. I am aware of the other part because someone sent me a picture of it. And I had Mr. Stutz look into it, and he did call the company and look into that. The other thing that we are looking at, this is not really good news, but I just want to be upfront with council, is I don't know how long the stage is going to be at Berkshire Park. We have to, we need to take a look at that and decide whether or not and how, where we're at with that.
So this Berkshire Park's been a lot more busy than it has in the past, at least it's been.
I think it's always.
Really?
I do.
Yeah, just doing it at different times.
Two questions I do have about Berkshire Park, and I know I talked to Mr. Gross about it. You know, we talked about the restrooms up there. There's really no lighting on that building, I found. And also, I was talking to a couple of neighbors there, and he says, do you remember when the storms hit and took a lot of those tree downs? He says, we lost 50% of that lighting in that park.
All right, I'm confused, I'm sorry.
Berkshire Park.
Because of the tree.
Well, that's,
Taking lighting down.
that's when the lighting, there was, he says this is probably 50% less. Not saying what took the lighting down, just saying since that time, the lighting has been less up there in the park than it used to be. And I was kind of looking, there's
Like
some
you're
holes in
saying the electrical, like trees took out power lines or something?
it. Either that or whatever, but ever since that time.
You're
and
saying
I'm not-
it's dark in the park?
Yeah, I guess that's a better way to
We will,
say it.
we can look into that and see.
And another suggestion he had, you know, we always talk about vandalism at these restrooms.
Yes, yes.
And I'm sure you've all looked into the stainless steel seat unit all in one. It's a little prison-like, but pretty hard to disrupt.
Yeah, I don't, Chief, do you?
I know we've had conversations about how to fix it in the best way to make it harder to damage. But to your point, I think the aesthetics of putting in prison
Well,
I'm not saying we can call it.
in the summer? I know Walsh does it. Walsh seems pretty good.
It hasn't been terrible, but it's just not acceptable, period.
Right, right.
So, one of the things that I also want to mention is they may already be in, Councilman Elder, but we also received, Steve Stutz got some grants for new water fountains. I know one was one at Walsh. Are they?
I don't know, I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah, so I haven't been in there I haven't been down there to see, but I know that there's one down at Walsh.
Is that near the bike trail?
I believe it's shown by the
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
So, and hopefully that's in very soon.
Yeah.
I don't have, do you know Mr. Gross? Have they installed that? They have not.
Really haven't.
Okay. All right. Well, that needs to get done soon, so I'll look into that. But I know those were coming. Anything else, Mr. Ronnie?
I'm using up my questions for the most
You
part.
already have.
Even with the missed one.
Go ahead.
flowers on State Street Bridge, they die, or are we just going to put in a different kind of flower for the rest of the year? The flower pots.
Go ahead, thank you.
Rick, who takes care of that, he's the president of the Beautification Commission. He hasn't had the time to get up there and do it. First of all, there was something going on, that they couldn't do it, and then he just hasn't had the time to get the ladder up there.
They're going to do a different seasonal type of flower,
Right.
months or
They're
something.
going to do something, and I think in the future, we're not going to have, I'm not sure about this, but I think in the future, we're not going to have real flowers because it's so difficult to water them.
Yeah.
So we're trying to think of something to put in there, that won't need the watering, or maybe won't need to be watered as much.
Do they need donations for that?
Always. We always need donations.
For that community?
I think.
Is there a way we could do that? Make it known that we're taking donations for flowers on State Street Bridge? I will.
I think that's a good initiative to talk about, and I think that's a good idea. I think we could probably do that and maybe talk some more later about that, but I would think we would support that.
Yeah.
But it's
Give you some
difficult
money.
to get those, he had a wagon that he would pull and with the water in it. Somebody stole that wagon.
Why couldn't downtown Fremont, since it's downtown, they go around with the wagon?
That's
Like,
different.
conversation for another day.
Right, that's a different party there, and sometimes it doesn't work. I don't know, I think they just take care of the downtown. But that wagon had been, we didn't have a place to store anything, so it had been put in the bushes there. All these years, it's been put in the bushes. Nobody took it, somebody took it. That was one of the problems that came to mind.
And Mr. Mayor, I'm going to have some questions left for our next meeting, so I'll stop it.
It's nice to see you.
Are you done?
The only thing is, Madam President, I just want to make sure that I appreciate you sending out that list of the questions I believe that Mr. Ian Henning also helped come up with. Do you feel all those questions were answered? I wanted to make sure all those were answered this evening.
You did a good job.
Because I have all the answers if there's anything that's left off.
No, I wondered what the pool hours were for the rec and when the pool will close at the end of the year. And
So-
then.
So about that, I'm sorry. I should have touched base on that as well. My apologies. It's up in the air right now when they were planning on closing the pool. Usually it's done around the fair time, but they're still trying to figure out a definitive date on that.
On a positive note, we had over 22, I think we had 22 lifeguards this year. And since council passed the pay increase for lifeguards, was it Mr. Grohl last year? So we've had that issue. Pay definitely was the issue.
Oh, well, good.
With those lifeguards, the pool hours were extended this summer.
That's great. Yeah, I just think that, and I thank you for giving us all the information that you did, because there's just so much activity in the city of Fremont right now, so many things going on, and I just would like to say, yay for Krogan Street. They did a fabulous job. All those contractors out there worked so hard, and I had sat right next to my desk and watched them every day. And they couldn't have done a better job. And I know it took time, but heck, there was a lot of work there. A lot of work. So, yay for all those people that worked on Krogan Street. Okay, Jim Melly?
I was just going to say that. I was going to say it's a joy to drive in Fremont now, and it looks absolutely fabulous.
Yes.
That's not all I'm going to say, but that's why I just want to say that, because I agree with you. I agree with you. Fremont lost a very treasured icon this last week, calling out the police today. But those of you who may not know her name is Karen Wagner, and she served on city council. She was an amazing woman, very dedicated public servant, not only as a council member and a councilwoman. She blazed a trail when she was on council. She stood up for a lot of issues that were controversial at the time, and she believed in them. And she actually gave me a lot of insight into various issues that were on council, and I was blessed to be on council with her. Also, she dedicated a lot of time to the Democratic Party. She worked at the Board of Elections, and in her spare time, she worked with Fremont Better Credit Union as a board member and did that as well. But she was a very, very special person, and unfortunately we lost her, but I just wanted to take the time to remember what an amazing person she was. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Paul Grow?
The only thing I would mention is it was mentioned a little bit about school starting, and today's August 1st, so all the fall sports started today officially. So everybody had their first official practice. We had the girls sweating like crazy up in the Thunderdome at St. Joe, and I know football was getting rolling, and I'm assuming cross country officially now, and not just summer runs and all the other sports, golf and soccer and everything. So it's good that. Of course, now it's 90 degrees and 80% humidity because all the sports are getting rolling, getting ready to start school.
Get them in shape.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. He's out there now.
I'm going to do some council comments now in case anybody wants to make a comment. I'm going to start with Angie Reed.
Thank you very much, Madam President. We lost two amazing women, Fremont did. One of them was Karen Wagner, served on council for 25 years. And the other lady was Charlotte Earth.
Oh, yes.
Charlotte came into Fremont and did everything for Fremont that she could. She was the one that started the beautification commission way back at, I don't know if it was 83 or 85. Because of her, we have the beautification commission. She was the first president of Rotary. And I don't know if she started Rotary or not, but she did a lot of things. She was very active in the community all the way up to even when she was in a nursing home, she would still have a prayer meeting there. So she was very active all the time, and she will be sad on this. She also helped with the flower arrangements for my daughter's wedding.
Great person.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. John Elder?
Nothing other than thank you for all the information you provided for us. Chief Wensinger made mention of the two races this weekend. The Front Street Relay will be from the entrance of Roger Young on Tiffin Street to the city building and back. The two-man relay team where each participant runs 2 miles. So the mayor's not going to run, and I'm not going to run either, but we'll be there cheering people on. And then the Chasing Amy run on Saturday is in memory of one of the best runners that came through Fremont Ross back in the 90s, Jamie Teffin. And it's an honor. He died tragically of brain cancer about 4 or 5 years ago. So her mom, who runs Pontifex, has this run in memory of her daughter. So, wow. A lot of things going on, as you said, Madam President, Councilwoman Reese said, a lot of things going on. Have fun. Stay hydrated. That's all.
Thank you. Jim Sleek?
Thank you, Madam President. Just everything's going good in Fremont that I see. It's nice to drive around and see projects getting completed, especially Curligan Street.
Yeah.
And I'm going to touch on the music thing. The amphitheater I went by on Sunday. Very nice crowd. We've got some big plans for the very first Sunday in October. And I'm going to keep everybody in suspense for that one, but mark that Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. on your calendars. And there'll be more information forthcoming, but it's an awesome venue down there, and that shows that everybody can come together and have something very positive in downtown Fremont. So I thank you.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I don't see any advertisement. We received that mailer, which has the major events, but I notice there's some nights there's a band. Is there certain nights of the week there are always an entertainment there?
That we'll have to touch base with.
Open mic night tonight.
Yeah, you can visit
5 to 8.
Just touch base with Christy.
You can visit their website too. Facebook,
She's
Instagram, all
got
that.
some flyers, I don't have them out in the car, but
They're
I have
here.
them.
You can
Yeah.
pick them up from all
But does that
downtown.
have every
Event
night
that's
on
going
it?
on.
No,
Yeah,
no, I don't think it does. I think it has every publicly booked nice, but if me and Bob want to hire a Sleeks band for a concert on Monday night, that's not going to be on there, but it might be added.
Yeah, they only update monthly, so if something's added short term, it won't be on it. But it'll be added to their website if you visit
Good
that.
point.
I visited and I had to go through a couple of different websites to get the right one. So that's what I was saying, I think there should be an easier way, but like you said, if a lot of those are kind of spur of the moment events, I understand that completely, because I think that's a real jewel in our city.
Beautiful.
And I just would like, you know, even if they had a message board or something, tonight will be, that would be great too, so the community knows.
And I want to give a shout out, if I can please, for Tim Ellenberger and the Terra music department out there, Brennan Bliss and his crew. Every Sunday, every event so far has been sponsored by Tim and whoever is with him, Tim Ellenberger. I went to school with Tim in Fremont here before I went back to Gibsonburg, but I know Brennan very well, and he's doing very well running the music department out of Terra. So, big shout out to them. They're doing a wonderful job.
Is there any chance that they'll ever put tables at the amphitheater, you know? You know, they have a few benches,
Yes.
they have,
So this is, you know, this is our first year of running the amphitheater.
Right.
So we always knew, hey, we're planning out as best as we can, but we're gonna learn a lot this year.
oh yeah.
And even the benches that are there, you know, you don't realize until something gets in use, but it's like, oh, okay, we have benches that are facing the front door of the restaurant. Oh, okay, we might need to rethink this in the off-season and get through that. And so we have a list going of things we need to, you know, get through this season,
Sure.
sit down this fall, and
Rotating
just kind of
stage.
take a look back at our first season and good and bad. I think, you know, one thing that popped, and I don't even know if I should say this, but I will, we have a lot of events, almost too many events. And then does that dilute the quality of the event by having too many? That's one thing we're kind of digesting here. And so you just, you know, and I think there'll be a time where we'll take input from the public. I mean, I think there are those who kind of put the amphitheater together, and I'm sure Christie will be here, and we'll just kind of have a deep dive some of the, you know, this fall and be like, okay, let's start thinking about 25 of what was the good of this year and what was the bad of this year. And I think we have a running, so, you know, like sometimes, like the one thing we talked about, when you're down there certain days and the sun's blaring down on you, there's no shade.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing. Okay, how can we think about shade for next year? What does that look like? And you know, just some other events. So I think we're learning a lot this year, and we're trying to keep track of the things we're learning. And I think anytime you do something for the first time, you learn a lot. There's going to be some hiccups, and then you try to get those ironed out.
And the fun thing is when there's former Fremonters come back to visit, it's nice to hear what they say about downtown Fremont, because people here who've been here sometimes tend to get negative and say things that just, you know, but it's kind of neat when the former Fremonters come back and like, wow, this is sharp, you know, they just, it's neat, it's fun to listen to them.
When there's an event there, can we take our own chairs?
Yeah.
Okay, then the other thing I'd like to mention also, you mentioned, you know, about all these events. Christy Builder has not been, I talked to her, I said, where have you been? We miss you at council. And she said she's got a conflict. She has something else going on, so by the time she gets done with this, with that, it's the same day. But I will contact her again, see if we can't get it back in here. To keep us updated on the events that are going on, because there is so much going on in this, you know, economic, entertainment, everything's going on.
Yeah, I mean, the Fremont Community Amphitheater has its own Facebook page, its own website. There's all kinds of events scheduled on there, promoted on there. So if you're having a hard time finding the event, I would be shocked, because literally there's a QR code on the side of the amphitheater and the doors of the restrooms at the amphitheater that bring up the schedule. And there's a banner on the side of the amphitheater that brings up the schedule, QR code, and other, you know, there's flyers all over town. And to Mr. Leibel's point, the public events are on the schedule, but remember, it can be rented out too, and so rental agreements for their own private party may not be announced publicly, because that's, you somebody else has done.
You know, maybe there's a possibility we could offer the Miller Brothers and lifelong pass to entertainment if they'd give us that little cruise thing.
I'll let you know, Adam, I'll try that.
Okay, who's next? Chris Leibold.
Nothing.
Okay. Danny Addy?
The way you say that, it's like, oh geez,
That's
when's he
because
gonna
you're
have?
done.
I'm out of questions.
Well, I'm not. I'm gonna ask one question. I was gonna wait till after the meeting, but, you know, some of the community members have asked me this, and I might have asked Mr. Melly this before. Somebody, more than one person has brought up to me, is there any way for streets that we can do a sales tax? Like a sin tax or something extra?
But street, you mean different than the levy? I don't, it's the first time I've been asked that question.
I don't believe cities have the authority to impose a city income tax, or I mean a city sales tax.
Don't they do it like they call it sin taxes?
In hotels all the time.
We're at the
We have a bed tax.
We're at the max of the bed tax. I think we're at the max of the sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those taxes are the max.
So, and that goes back to a little bit of entities in their own sandbox. So the county gets all the sales tax in the county. The property taxes, majority goes to the schools, and then we're supposed to have the income tax sandbox, but then the school district plays in our sandbox a little bit. And so, yeah, so we have a bed tax that is charged and collected from the hotels and motels that are in the city. Those dollars are, it's done by city ordinance. Those dollars are then diverted and paid out to various entities at the discretion of the mayor. And so that goes to like the Visitors Bureau downtown, the Historical Society, the Presidential Center. So they kind of boomerang back to a majority of the entities that kind of bring tourism into the city, of which I think they just had a major post about tourism in Sandusky County. They made a big splash. We're like #1 in, for some tourism. But so yeah, so there is a bed tax already in place. I think we might be at the max. We have a 3% bed tax charged to hotels, motels in the city. So
Really, it's only...
And we are at the max, and our bed tax generates about $60,000 a year. So we're not paving many streets with our bed tax, just so.
Add more beds.
Well, that's very true, and the administration has worked hard, Bob and ED and the mayor, to try and recruit possibly a downtown hotel or something additional out on the 53 corridor in addition. So yes, the administration is well aware of that possible revenue generator, and they've worked those angles a little bit.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to bring that up because it sounded like, you know, I'm just thinking of what other ways, and I know people in the community are thinking what other ways to.
But just remember.
Might be a great conversation with the county commissioners with their sales tax. They seem to be booming up the hill with sales tax, so maybe they'd like to spin that around and contribute to some cities in their county seat.
What about the street tax that we tried to pay?
That's a left fail.
I'd like to say it a couple times.
It doesn't matter if it's the levy or what, it would be street tax and street suspension.
Now I have the sales tax, we could do a sales tax.
Sounds like another conversation.
Yeah, let's not go on another hour.
No, and that's all I have. Thank
Okay.
you, Madam President.
All right, Christine Weiss.
Well, I'm going to talk about taxes. Just that there is the annual sales tax holiday still going on until August 8th. So getting your back to school clothes and things like that.
Thank you.
Go back to
My grandkids. Seth Frazier.
I have nothing, Madam President.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is so long.
Thank you.
Are they throwing
I would like to make the announcement that City Council will be at the amphitheater on August 15th at 7 o'clock. So I hope some people will join us for that. And is there anybody in the public that would like to speak? Yes, sir. What's your name?
My name is William Burns. I live at Pinewood Boulevard, Fremont, Ohio, 43420. 1483. I live at where they just sold some property, and I'm hoping them taxes that come in over there take care of my street since it's not a legal resident. So, and I have a question. I brought up some other things in the past year that I've been living here. There's a house over on Woods and Hayes. It's wrapped in plastic. It's been sitting there and it's tearing apart. And there's got to be something done. That's ridiculous. It's growing plastic, it looks like, onto the stuff. And everybody keeps saying, shaking their heads, like, what are we going to do about it? Nothing. Then there's a house over on Hickory, I think it is, that has 3 cars parked at it, and they're just sitting there wasting away. And I think you guys, and I'm not positive, in my own, I don't know. I'm just saying there's some way we could get this taken care of. And the streets, if you drive up and down, and you see a car that's got a flat tire for a month, either we got to get rid of it, put a ticket on it, do something. I don't know whose job it is to do that, but, I think that somebody needs to take care of these things. I mean, I know I'm just one rock in the old place here, but.
I can comment on that quick. There's a job opening if you want to apply. The person's been gone for about a month, so we've been seeking this new position for about a month.
What's the job?
The code enforcer.
What's that?
Code enforcement.
I don't have no degree. I'm just a.
You already know where the places are, though.
Yeah, I do.
That's better than any degree.
Because I look around, I pay attention to these things.
You would probably be qualified, Mr. Burns.
I don't think
But
so.
I agree with you.
I mean,
I agree with you with that house. We've addressed that with the zoning director. And then the cars with the flat tires that are on the side of the road, I've addressed that with the police chief, and he's been addressing that with the officers because there is an ordinance that says the vehicle does have to be in, running operation on the street.
I mean, I don't know the ordinance here, but I know that common sense will tell you.
And you coming to council, I always appreciate you coming because these things that you're bringing out to the public are things that I'm addressing with these department heads and meetings. And I will tell you, there's no excuse making. The truth is the position's been vacant now for over a month.
It's not a gun or anything I'm bringing out.
We have, my other response to you is that the law director has been very helpful in getting these cases when we get into court. The city currently only had a part-time code enforcer, and it's not going to happen overnight. I'm just being completely honest with you. There's been.
I understand. I've been here. I only lived here 6 years and nothing's happened yet.
We've gotten a lot of houses down in the city. But that house has been there for a while.
And this is out of my house. Okay? These are bugs that are coming in. How they come into my house, I have no idea. I have 3 of these. They're bug catchers.
I don't want to get it.
Well,
I want to see it. I want to see what kind of bugs it is.
If you want to hand it to me, I can.
Oh, just.
I got it.
Are these the little gnats?
Gnats and everything.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure, I know my house is clean enough, or my wife's house is clean enough, and the one I live in. And that this is unbelievable why I'm having bugs in my house.
Are these coming up out of your drains?
I have no idea where they're coming from. If I did, I'd take care of it. And even if they are, why are they coming out of the drains?
I don't know if that's a question that we're qualified to answer.
We're trying to figure that out
an
because we're having that
exterminator
issue on the second floor of my
Mr. Burns?
property.
Okay, go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
an exterminator would be your first call, wouldn't it? I mean, on something like that?
No, I would try to sell them.
A pest?
I've already poured chemicals down the drains. I had someone in the city of Fremont came out to my house and said that there's something, cracked tile. Okay, why is it still letting bugs into my house? That's my answer. And everybody I don't know who it was. I promise you, I don't know. And I was told that I shouldn't have bugs coming in my house because through the sewer, through the drain because of the catch bucket at the bottom of your sinks and whatever. Well, I have all those and I still get the bugs. So, you know, I don't know who, you know, to say anything more to, or anybody explain this to me. I mean, what's happening?
I can tell you, it's the humidity right now and the heat. Every time you open the door at night, there's some mosquitoes, some flies, and those real little things. They all fly around the lights at night. I know I get them at home too.
There's a light to light that up, so they come to that light instead of flying to my house.
Maybe you turn the light
I don't
off.
want that.
No, you can't turn the light off or it don't work.
Well, it's like living in the area of Fremont. I grew up on Buckland. It's like I'm never going to prevent the beetles from coming in near the winter time.
Yeah, you got weevils now. Where the hell they go?
I don't even know what the hell that is.
Mr. Burns, I don't think that any of us here are.
I'm not expecting you all to know
Right.
the answer.
We don't.
Okay,
I
but I'm
don't
just
know
bringing
the
it to your
answer
attention
the
like I
insect.
did the
I'm
other
not an
stuff.
exterminator, but I will help you out with the trucks or cars that are parked in the highway or in the street and are left there. If you see one that's left there, you contact your city council person and they will take care of it for you. And it's not going to be an overnight sensation either, because I've
Nothing's
already
overnight.
dealt with that problem.
And it's not
And
Fremont, it's everybody.
It's taken care of though. It isn't an overnight sensation, but you get your councilman to work on it and they will take care of it. Right, chief?
I have ran through that neighborhood for the last 3 weeks and caught in 3 things. So I'll be sure to run
Well,
down your street.
you're my new representative?
Sure.
Well, I mean, you're taking.
Yes, I am.
So,
Is that your?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
and I see him on the TV all the time. But, you know, I'm not saying, you know, I'm not trying to make it bad. There's a lot of good things about Fremont that I like. And I wished I'd have moved here 50 years ago. But I didn't. So I've only been here 6 years. But I'm trying to get my road fixed. And I know everybody else is too. And mine's just one little road. But it's never been a full road. It's never been considered a road.
Never finished, right? You told us
Correct.
that. You've been here before and told us that.
Curbs are this high, okay? Well, they're not supposed to be that high or deep. You're supposed to be able to have some road there that's not, you know. And you got to bump in and out of your driveway all the time. I asked for that, and I can't get that. To, you know, put some tar by my driveway. I buy all of my neighbors' driveways, but you know.
Well, thank you for,
I'll take my
in.
bugs back with me if you want.
okay.
I don't want you to.
You're bugging us.
Just so. You did good.
Well, I almost had it over the rail. Took a bum off.
Thank you.
Second.
Roll call.
Elder, yes. Leibold.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Sleep.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Adjourn.